Hello traders, my name is Plamen and again it's Monday and it's time for our weekly forecast for the upcoming week. We are gonna take a look at some of the currency pairs and the gold as well. So without further ado, let's begin and let's start with the news that are coming this week. Okay, we are gonna take a look at the calendar. Where is my calendar? Just a second. There is the calendar. There is some problem with the internet. There is some problem with the calendar, but don't worry, I've already checked what news are coming. You gotta be careful in Thursday, and there's gonna be some news for the US dollar. Yeah, there is the calendar. We have to wait to load the page. Okay, there are the news this week. On Tuesday we have some news for the pound, not very important, and the CPI for the US dollar. You gotta be careful with this news. On Wednesday there is the CPI on a yearly base for the British pound, and as well news for the US dollar. And on Thursday there's gonna be some more news for the US dollar, the building permits, the initial jobless claims, and the Fed manufacturing index, also the PPI. These news can bring some movements of the price with the currency pairs with the US dollar, so you gotta make your trades before the news, and if there is some entries after the news, 1 hour after the news, it's gonna be good. Okay, now let's move on to the weekly forecast that we have prepared. First, let's take a look at the pictures from the last week. And let's see what we expected for the euro dollar for the last week. Here we set, there is the price. It was over here. We said that here we have a supply zone that the price probably can reach it and then to make a new bearish movement. Well, the price didn't make this movement to the supply zone, which was over here, and it forms a strategy that is called flag. You can see it here. Now, what we expect for the next week. If we see on the higher time frame, on the daily one, you can see we have a breakout of this daily trend line, and there is the test of the trend line. We expect the price to make a test of the weekly trend line somewhere around here, or even to make a consecutive point on this daily trend line, and from here to make a bullish impulse wave, something like this. On the 4-hour time frame, if we measure the flag, the impulse wave comes exactly to this point of interest, which is on this low over here, and it fits perfectly with the analysis on the higher time frame, something like this. It will make a consecutive point on the daily trend line, and if it doesn't reach the trend line, there is a possibility that the price will make something like this to test the weekly trend line, to make a pushback from the point of interest, and there is gonna be a very good opportunity for a very long trade, something like this. This is what we think is gonna happen on euro dollar. Let's move to pound dollar. Let's see the picture from the last week. It was on 4-hour time frame. Okay, the price you can see was over here. We said that we have a point of interest on this low. There it is. We expected the price to touch this point of interest and to make a new bullish impulse wave. But first, we expected the price to test the trend line, to reach some of the levels of Fibonacci, and then to reach the point of interest. And as you see, from here, the price made a correction which touched the level 50 of Fibonacci retracement, and now it's making a new bearish impulse wave. What we expect here is pretty much the same as the euro dollar. It can reach the point of interest to make a pushback to this 4-hour trend line, and then to test the weekly level, which is at 1.16500 on this high, this lows over here. And when it reaches this level, we are gonna expect some new movements, something like this. First, to break the trend line, to break the daily level, make a test maybe, and to make new strong impulse wave upwards. This is what we think for the pound dollar. Now let's move to euro Japanese yen. Okay, let's check what was from the last week. Yes, this is the euro Japanese yen. Okay, here we have, last week we said that on this impulse wave over here, the price is gonna make a retracement and probably a new impulse wave upwards. But the price here didn't make this impulse wave. It made a new impulse wave, bearish impulse wave, and it formed a strategy on the Fibonacci correction. Here we have a very good trade, first to this low and then to the second one, which is at 120 pips. This is a very good trade with a stop of 50 pips. And now what we think is gonna happen for the Japanese yen for the next week. On the higher time frame, on the daily one, we can see that here we have a very good consecutive point, which the price made already some very good movement of around 150 pips. Now, if we see this side movement here and this consecutive point on the higher time frame, we think that the price is gonna reach the weekly trend line, which we expect from probably 2 months for now. On the lower time frame, yesterday when we made the analysis, we thought that the price will reach the 4-hour trend line and will make a new bearish impulse to the point of interest and then to make the new impulse wave upwards. But now, since here we see that the price is breaking this 4-hour trend line, we think that probably it's gonna make a movement upwards, then to test the trend line and then to reach this point of interest, which is on this high over here. Why we think it's that way? Because it will reach the trend line, it will make a consecutive point, and there is a huge imbalance which needs to be filled. So this is our opinion. We think this is gonna happen on the euro Japanese yen because of this daily consecutive point. Okay, let's move to pound yen. And let's see the picture from the last week. Okay. This is the picture from the last week. Here we said that the price, after this impulse wave and reaching the levels of Fibonacci, level 50 for now, which is on this high over here, we said that the price probably it's gonna make a retracement and then a new bullish impulse wave, something like this, to the daily trend line. Now, this week what we see here, we see a perfect triangle pattern, and because of the correlation with the euro Japanese yen, what we expect to see is the price to break this triangle, something like this, to make a test, and then to make the new bullish impulse wave to the weekly trend line. Let me see, is this weekly? There's gotta be weekly, yes. This is the weekly trend line. We think that the price it's gonna make a new bullish impulse wave. If we measure the triangle, you can see that the price should break all of these highs over here. There is a lot of liquidity on these highs. It will grab it probably and will make a new bullish impulse wave. On this high we have the same point of interest. There is the strong imbalance here, and if it reaches the trend line, if it doesn't make a pushback from the trend line, we are gonna looking for the point of interest, and from here to make a new bearish impulse wave. Okay, this is for the pound yen. Let's move on and see what we have on the euro Australian dollar. Okay, this is from the last week. I'm gonna make it just like this. Okay, last week we said that here we have a point of interest, this high, and the price will push back from the point of interest to reach the lower point of interest, which is on 4 hour as well, and will make a movement upwards. Well, as you can see, the price rejected this area right here and made the bearish impulse as we expected. Now for the next week, here we can see that the price is making the flag pattern and now is making a breakout of the flag. We expect now that the price from this flag will gonna reach this point of interest and probably will make a new bullish impulse wave if this point of interest is strong. If not, the price probably is gonna break these lows over here, some retest of the weekly level, and a new bullish impulse wave. Here you can see there are a lot of liquidity. There are 4 lows over here, and there is a possibility that the price will grab all the liquidity and make a new bearish impulse wave. Here we can see that we have a downtrend, lower lows and lower highs, and we think that the price it's gonna break all the lows over here and will make a new bearish impulse wave to this daily level, which is on these highs over here. This is for the euro Australian dollar. Let's move on to pound to euro New Zealand dollar. Let's see the picture from the last week. Yeah, this was on the 4 hour time frame. The price was at this high. Here we said that there is 2 chances. First, the price to make a retracement to level 50 of Fibonacci, or the second one was that it will break the daily trend line to make a retest and to make a new strong bearish impulse wave. Now let's see what happened to the price. Well, you can see here the retracement. First it reached level 15, then level 61.8, and now is reaching the demand zone, which is on this low over here. Now we can see that it is touching the daily trend line. And here, if we see some candlestick formation that is good for reversing or the end of the correction, we will expect that the price will make very good impulse wave upwards. First to this daily, this daily level of resistance, and then to make a breakout, retest, and to go up again to these highs over here. The other option is, if the price breaks the daily trend line and make a retest, to make a new bearish impulse wave, but it's not high probability because you can see the uptrend here. Okay, now let's move on to pound Australian dollar. And let's see what we had the last week. Yeah, again, this was on the 4-hour time frame. And let's see, first we had a trend line here. Okay, and we said that probably the price, there are two options to reach the trend line, to make a pushback from the trend line and to reach the weekly level again. The second option was to reach the point of interest, which was on this high over here on 1 hour. Let me just draw it real quick. You can see the price didn't reach the point of interest, but we had here a pushback from the point of interest on the 4-hour. And you can see the very good retracement from the point of interest. Now, what we expect for the next week, we don't need this trend line over here, which is on 4-hour, because the price, it's not respecting the trend line. So, for the next week, here we can see that we have a very good, I can say, a perfect triangle. Here we have all the needed pushbacks from the triangle. And now, because of the correlation with the Euro Australian dollar and Pound Australian dollar, we think that this triangle is gonna be broken on this lower side. And first, if you made some trades by the triangle, the first profits should be at the weekly level, because this very strong weekly level. And if the price breaks this weekly level, the second profit of the triangle is gonna be at the daily level, which is around 1.69 at all these highs, all these lows, and this high over here. This is what we expect for the Pound Australian dollar. Now let's go to Pound New Zealand dollar. Yeah, this is the picture from the last week. It was on 4-hour time frame. And the price was, let me just see where it was. Yeah, here we had a very good point of interest. And we said that the price was very close to the point of interest. We said that it will push back from the point of interest and will make a new bearish impulse wave. You can see the price rejected the point of interest and it made the bearish impulse wave. Now, what we expect for the next week, here we had a very good opportunity that the price will reach, at this impulse wave, will reach some of the levels of Fibonacci, and the trend line and to reach this point of interest, which is very strong on this high. You can see all the grab liquidity, all these highs over here, and then we had the break of structure, all the lows over here. Now there are two options right now. I'm gonna erase this trend line and this Fibonacci. Now there are two options. The first one is that the price will reach the point of interest on this low and to make a new bullish impulse wave. The second option is the price to reach first this upper point of interest and then this point of interest on the low. You can see here is some range. Here we had an impulse wave, but when we take a look at the higher time frames, we can see that we are clearly in a downtrend. So we think that first the price will reach this point of interest, then to go to this one, and probably it will continue its downward movement. This is what we think for the pound New Zealand dollar. And let's move to the gold. Let's take a look at the picture from the last week. Okay, it was on 4-hour time frame. Okay, after these two impulse waves that here we saw, we expected the price to reach the swing level and to make a new bearish impulse wave. Well, it didn't reach the swing level, but it formed a flag strategy. You can see very good flag over here. And now, what are the options? First, at this impulse wave, we are expecting the flag to reach the daily level, which is on this all these highs over here, and it will continue its downward movement. The second option is the price. Let me just adjust this arrow. Okay, the second option is here on 1-hour time frame. We had very strong point of interest. You can see it. It grabbed all this liquidity and it broke all these structures over here. So there is a chance the price to go upward to this point of interest and then to make the new strong impulse wave. Or if the price breaks again all these highs over here and breaks all this swing level over here on 4-hour time frame, we have very good point of interest. Here you can see grabbing the liquidity of all the highs over here and breaking all these lows, and this is an opportunity for a very good trade with around 80 pips stop, and profit it's gonna be around 1200 pips. This is for the long term. We are not expecting this to reach today or tomorrow, probably next week. So we are gonna take a look what is gonna happen with the gold, and we are gonna trade what we see and not what we expect to see always. Okay guys, this was for this week forecast. If you like this video, click on the like button and share it with your friends. This way you are helping us to make good content. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.